How do bullets perform in the rain? Well, this year's Queen's Prize will be remembered for being soggy but no less closely fought for all that. We're off to Bisley now for NRATV.
Well, this is the end of nearly 4.5 weeks of intensive competition here at Bisley. It's the Queen's Final day. We've had some in the region of 3,000 people from literally all over the world coming to shoot on a myriad of competitions at Bisley, and this, joy of joys, is the last day. It's the Queen's Final where 100 of the world's finest marksmen do battle for the honour of winning the Queen's Prize, to be chaired off by their peers. So a very short and snappy competition. Two distances, 900 yards and 1,000 yards this afternoon, and at the end of it we'll be acclaiming the winner. The sun always shines on the Queen's Final, so we're just having a little bit of rain to lay the dust.
The Queen's Prize goes back to the days of Queen Victoria. The winner picks up £250, the same now as in 1860, but such glory.
The movement was to try and improve the quality of marksmanship amongst British soldiers, and in particular the reservists. There were a group of largely the aristocracy, led by Earl Spencer and others, who got together and decided to hold a prize meeting for shooting, and of course that started at Wimbledon. So for most of its history, or the early part of its history, you had to be a serving member of either the forces or the reserve forces to take part. It is the prize that every full-bore rifle shooter wishes to win.
As the rain drips off the barrels and the shooters move from 900 yards to 1,000 yards for the second leg of the competition, Chief Range Officer Peter Turner explains how the scoring works.
So this is what the target looks like to the shooter, and when he fires in it there'll be a splash in the sand, and the butt marker will bring the target down. He'll find the hole and he'll put that in it. The fire will be able to see that orange disc through his telescope and know where it's gone. And you also have this board which shows you the relative score, V5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. So this is what his register keeper will use for actually writing down how many points he's just scored, whereas the spotting disc will be used by the shooter to change his sights and adjust for wind.
Two components to the weather that really matter. One is the rain. Now, it doesn't affect the bullets. I've heard people say that raindrops would hit the bullets and make them drop. They don't. Actually, the bullets travel faster in the rain. But what it does do, and I think you should be able to see that over my shoulder, pretty clearly, yes, it's misty. And when you're staring through a little aperture sight, which is at the back of the rifle, small 1 millimeter diameter hole, at another little hole, which is on the end of the rifle, things get very difficult to see clearly. So that's point one. Secondly, we've got a bit of wind. Now, currently, it's dropped a little from about 2 minutes ago. This wind, which is coming over their shoulders, following the bullet down the range, is going to make the bullet's flight a little bit wobbly. It's going to push it very slightly, currently, very slightly to the right, and they're going to have to allow for that by altering their sights. Now, that's the conditions. They know how to cope with it, and that's fairly easy for them. What won't be easy is if we suddenly get a big gust of wind, and just as they're about to shoot. But the big thing is what's going on in their heads. Now, when they're lying down there, you've got two things. One, you're getting wet, which is no fun at all. You've got to keep the gun dry. You mustn't let water get into the action. Your ammunition must be dry, because if you put a wet round into the chamber, you fire it, you create steam. Steam will make the bullet go differently. And in shooting, you want the same thing to happen every time. So you're really worried about that. Equally, you'll know what score you got this morning. And that is the killer. The conditions were pretty awful. The conditions yesterday were ghastly. And what is going through the shooter's mind is they've got to completely ignore what score they get. Now, as spectators, what we're hoping for is that the wind will throw all over the place, the rain will come and go, and that will make it a really exciting mix. What the top shooters want is they just want to keep popping them in the bull. There's a lot going on there, and I'm glad it's not me.
So people are starting to finish. So we've got Glyn Barnett on a 296, Gaz Morris on 295. However, Parag Patel is currently only 3 off with 1 shot to go. If he puts his next shot in the bull, he's won the Queen's prize. So here comes, who's this for? So what we're going to be doing now is transferring all the scores over. Healy, what's he on?
296.
Patel takes it. So Parag Patel, who won the Governor General's prize as a cadet maybe 10, 12 years ago, now gets the Queen's prize in the UK with a really good score, 297. Cracking little score that.
Today was a very wet day, and I actually took my rifle apart between 900 and 1,000 yards, and the bedding was full of water. So I'm glad I did that. I dried it off and put it back together again, and really had a nice tight shoot at 1,000 yards. But I'm wet through and through. My waterproofs didn't work. I've got wet trousers, but it doesn't bother me. I'm happy to shoot in the rain. The wind is usually quite calm in the rain, and so actually I didn't have to do too much thinking with regards to the wind. Just firing good shots. My children, I heard them, shouting in the background, "Daddy's back in the lead." So that was a bit nerve-wracking, and I lost one of my 13th count at 1,000 yards. It was a slightly ropey shot, but then I got the last 2 in. So I'm very pleased that I held it together. Single most important competition that we shoot at Bisley, and I wanted this one all my life since I was a 13-year-old boy. I'm now 41 years old, and I finally got there in the end.
As is traditional, the victor, wet but worthy, is chaired away from the range to go on a long trip around the clubhouses of the home of British shooting. What a good win by Parag, something he's been aiming for all his life. Now here's what's coming up at Bisley over the next few weeks. This weekend, the 28th to the 30th of July 2017, is the second Cottesloe Heath Challenge for target shotgun. Last year the NRA had 130 competitors over 2 days. This year it is spreading the event over 3 days. Friday for the range officers, Saturday and Sunday, and more than 150 competitors have already signed up, making the largest event of this type in the UK. It is round 8 of the NRA Shotgun League. The 26th to the 27th of August sees the NRA's 3rd Gallery Rifle Weekend. It is the Gallery Rifle National Championships, with events including GR&P, 200-yard, full bore, McQueen, both mini and full bore, target shotgun and practical pistol. These championships are open to all levels of shooter, from novices and newcomers to national squads competing in the home county's national match. And there are 2 guest days coming up. On the 20th of August, it's 200 yards on Short Siberia, and on the 30th of September, it is 600 yards on Century Range. For more on this and on all the events that the NRA runs at Bisley and across the UK, visit nra.org.uk.